I have mixed feelings about the recent resignations at the CDC. I have mixed feelings about political resignations in general, and here's why. Because on the one hand, I get it. I think it's noble that there are people who do the hard, mostly unrewarding work of pushing scientific advancement, and those people largely hold the integrity of their work over the idea of getting paid a lot of money, over the idea of, being able to be in the news or get into politics, whatever. And I think it's noble that there are people who would sooner say I quit than, start rubber stamping bullshit because they're told to. On the other hand, you're freeing up a space for them to place somebody who will do exactly that. And so, again, I have mixed feelings. It's like when people say, the number's always like 97% of scientists agree with whoever's funding them. We look at who's funding them. Oh, it turns out that who's funding them is they get grants because they work at labs and schools and shit like that. They get grants from the United States government, which they use to do breakthrough scientific achievements, and then Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson or Purdue, some giant some giant evil mega company comes and swoops in and they buy the patent for whatever has been produced. I'm picking on drug companies specifically, but it's true across all sorts of fields of science. Companies swoop in, they buy the patent, they turn around and charge 6 or 7 or 800% of what it costs to make the drugs, and they tell you that's just the price of doing business. The people who do the difficult work of science and study aren't doing it to get rich. And we're worse off the less of those people we have within the structure of our government. They've already deregulated sewage and waters. They've already taken away routine food safety checks. They've already destroyed what remained of the CDC's ability to track epidemics. That's why that's why there's not widespread stories about measles outbreaks. That's why there's not widespread stories about all sorts of diseases that used to be just a thing from our textbook springing back to life and taking over in pretty large areas of our country because people aren't getting vaccinated. They've destroyed the CDC's ability to track and count these things. And it's not because they've just gone away. It's because if they can't count them and they can't tell you about how terrible it is, then they can pretend that it's just not there. They can pretend it's business as usual. And all of it will be rubber stamped by the people who will be inserted in place of these people who resigned. So yeah, I think it's noble. I think it comes from a place, being in the right place in these people's hearts and all that, but as a long-term political move, I'd say if you find that you are in opposition to what your boss is telling you to do, the option that you choose shouldn't be go along with it. It also shouldn't be get out of the way and just let them do it. You need to stand your ground. We absolutely have to stand our ground in every single place possible. And I don't think resigning from positions actually places us in a stronger position to do that. I think it places us in a weaker one. I don't think these 9 or what, I think it was 9 or 12 or I don't know, whatever the number of people who just resigned recently from the CDC. I don't think that those particular people's resignations are like the ones that will make the difference. I'm just saying, like, political resignations have been a pattern in this country for a while. And it's not just this country, it's all over the world. It's not abnormal. But I don't think it's actually accomplishing anything. I think if you're in one of these positions, the best thing that you can do in today's age, in the media age, the age of the internet, go live. Your boss is you're a scientist on a team of scientists, and your boss comes and says, I want the numbers to be different. Go live. And if they, if they try to make you shut up, if they push you out, okay, we'll make sure the public knows about that too. Don't just give in and throw up your hands and say, all right, well, we're going to get out of here because we can't do our job anymore. I mean, keep trying to do your job as best you can and make a show of it. Look at how hard we're trying to continue working on this thing that we were doing that was going to do so much good for so many people, and here are these guys coming to fuck it up. There have been times in this country's past where things being turned over to, like, the court of popular opinion might have been a negative thing for us, but in the age of being so interconnected, so available at a moment's notice and to see and react to each other's things, I think that it's time that people start harnessing that tool in the other direction. Using it as a tool for accountability instead of a way to gaslight people and cover up and get rid of accountability. And I think, this isn't a speech that I would have made to people necessarily 15 years ago, maybe not even 10 years ago, but in 2025, literally everybody has the magic information rectangle in their pocket, at least in this country. Everybody's got one. Pull it out, use it. I don't especially love being in front of a camera. I'm not doing this because I've been dying to get in front. I've kind of made YouTube stuff and goofy things with my friends on and off for a decade now, but never have I jumped in front of a camera, just as is, to bark into it about old man gripes at cloud, because I'm not really dying to do that sort of thing, and yet here I am, because we have to fucking do something. So if you are in a position of authority within your field, even if somebody above your pay grade is trying to countermand you and push you to do something unethical, don't quit and give them the space to replace you with somebody who will rubber stamp what they want. Pull out your phone and start recording. Make a show of the fact that you were asked to do something unethical and maybe even illegal. Make a show of the fact that you're just trying to do your job as a scientist, as a researcher, as a historian, as a whatever you are, and somebody's coming along and trying to make your life difficult. Make a show of these things. Bring yourselves out from behind the curtain, because then you'll have more credibility with the people when you do. I don't know. This turned into way more of a lecture than I meant for it to, and I'm sorry for that. And as usual, I know I'm screaming into the void. Nobody's listening, but something has to change. And we don't accomplish that by giving up the few positions of power that we already hold. We need to get more, not give up what little we have.